Great new day to all my self-care family and friends. Welcome back to another Room to Breathe podcast. I am your host, Life Coach 614, and I am so happy that you made space to be here with us today. Now, before we jump into today's episode, do me a quick favor. If you're feeling our vibe, go ahead and show some love. Tap the screen, like, comment, but most importantly, I need you to share this out with someone who might need a little healing energy today. And remember, if this is your first time here or you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit that follow button. Subscribe to our channel so that way you're always tapped in when a new episode drops. I also want to personally invite you to check out our digital home at theselfcareclub.org, where you will find everything from affirmative apparel to motivational merch, as well as a ton of free resources to help nourish your growth and remind you that you are supported every step of the way. Just know that you don't have to do this alone. We are healing in community, growing one breath, one moment, one day at a time. So today, I encourage you to give yourself permission to pause, to reflect, and to make space for peace, for growth, but most importantly for you. And if anything in today's episode hits home, be sure to drop a green heart in the chat. That is our community's way of saying I'm healing, I'm growing, and I'm showing up for me. Now, let's get ready to breathe, reflect, and grow together. Today's episode, okay, y'all listen. Let me tell you something. This one is going to be a word that you didn't even know that your spirit was waiting on. Okay? Kale, welcome in. Mars, I see you. Welcome in, beautiful queens. Today we're going to talk about something that I feel like so many of us became professionals at without ever even signing up for it. Something that we've mastered in silence, that we've perfected behind the scenes while everyone else applauded a version of us that was actually in pain. Today we're going to talk about high functioning trauma. That silent storm, right, inside your chest that makes the world see, some strong, capable, and unshakable person, but privately you feel tired, overwhelmed, stretched thin, and spiritually dehydrated. This episode is for the women who hold everything and everyone together while they feel like nobody ever checks to see if they're unraveling. This episode is for the fixers who solve every single problem, even when they're breaking. This episode is for the overthinkers whose minds won't rest because you're always preparing for the next big hit. This one is for the strong friends who somehow became the emotional first responders in every single room. Hey, JC. This episode is for all the women who were praised for surviving things that would have collapsed somebody without your grace, your faith, and your grit. Because here's the truth that we don't say loud enough. Strength was never supposed to be your identity. It was your emergency response. And I need you to hear me with your whole heart. Chaos didn't build you. God did. It's like you were shaped in dysfunction. You were not shaped in dysfunction, right? You were shaped in destiny. You were not formed in fear. You were formed in favor. You are not the product of your storms. You are the evidence of his covering. And so today we're retiring that old identity of being the resilient one, right? Not because you can't handle it, but because you shouldn't have to. Not because you're weak, but because you finally understand that you deserve to be held, healed, poured into, supported, uplifted, and seen. You are allowed to be whole. You are allowed to be soft. You are allowed to be carried by God instead of carrying the world on your back. So for all my sisters out there, right? I want you to take a deep breath. And I mean a real one. I want you to let your shoulders drop. Let your chest loosen. Let your spirit unclench. Deep breath in. And exhale. Let's breathe together. Let's talk about the mask you didn't even know you were wearing. The mask of high functioning trauma. Now, high functioning trauma is one of the most dangerous forms of pain because it hides in your excellence. It disguises itself in your accomplishments. It blends in with your busyness, right? It buries itself in your I got it. It whispers through your I'm fine. And it convinces you quietly and consistently that the only way to prove your worth is to keep performing. It's the trauma that doesn't stop you from showing up. In fact, it actually forces you to over show up. It's the pain that says, I can keep going, and you know what? If I just keep going, maybe I won't feel this. If I just keep fixing, maybe nobody else will see me falling apart. If I stay strong, nobody will leave me. If I stay perfect, maybe my life won't fall apart again. See, high functioning trauma is what happens when survival becomes your personality. When you become so good at carrying things that people forgot to ask if you want to. When being dependable becomes an expectation and it's no longer a gift. So today, let's call it what it is, right? Welcome in, Kojo. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is. It is self-sacrifice that looks like success. It is exhaustion that looks like excellence. It is emptiness that looks like discipline. It's anxiety that looks like ambition. And so many of us learned it young, right? We didn't get to fall apart because there was no one to catch us. We didn't get to pause because life didn't give us that luxury. We didn't get to choose softness because survival demanded strength. So we grew up mastering the art of appearing okay. We became professionals at smiling through the disappointment. We became experts at carrying the things that crushed us. We became fluent in the language of, being the superhero that nobody else ever cared to save. We became the strong ones, not because we wanted to be, but because we had to be. And you know what happens? People start confusing your coping mechanism as your character. They start mistaking your trauma responses for traits. And they tell you things like, you're so independent. You're so responsible. You're so strong. You're so put together. Meanwhile, your spirit is screaming on the inside, I am tired. I am lonely. I am overwhelmed. I am holding too much. I am breaking quietly. High functioning trauma teaches you to normalize the things that hurt, right? It tells you if they don't see your pain, then the pain is not real. If you slow down, you'll disappoint somebody. If you ask for help, then you'll be a burden. If you rest, you're going to fall behind. And so what do? We keep pushing, right? We keep performing, keep perfecting, keep pretending. And the world applauds your mask while ignoring your needs. But sis, I need you to hear me today. Just because you've mastered functioning doesn't mean you're healed. Just because you don't break down doesn't mean that you're not breaking on the inside. Just because you can carry it all doesn't mean that you should. High functioning trauma is not your identity. It is simply a wound that has grown legs and started walking through your adult life. And the mask, let's talk about the mask because it's heavy. It is suffocating. And it is time to put it down. This is the season where you learn that you don't have to be strong to be loved. That you don't have to be perfect to be worthy. You don't have to be everything for everyone, especially when you're barely making space for yourself. In this space, in this moment, you get to be honest, right? You get to tell the truth about the weight that you've been carrying. You get to admit out loud, without shame, that I'm tired of pretending strength is my only option. You deserve a life where survival isn't your personality. And, if I'm being real, being the strong one is not a calling. Focus, welcome in. Excuse me. Being the strong one is not a calling. I think that at some point in life, we have, started thinking that being the strong one was like something that we were called to do, right? But being the strong one is not a calling. It's a coping mechanism. And so somewhere along the line, life had handed you this title of the strong one. And everybody else just agreed. Right? Hey, Miss Sherry. They didn't ask you if you wanted it. They didn't ask you if you were ready for it. They didn't ask you if you had the capacity. They just saw your strength and assumed that you were built to carry that weight. And because you're you, all loving and responsible, dependable, and you lead with your heart first, you carried it. But here's the truth that we don't talk about enough. There is a whole identity crisis hidden behind that strength. Because being the strong one means that you learned at a very early age to swallow hurt instead of expressing it, to push through instead of pause, to carry pain instead of releasing it, to absorb chaos instead of confronting it, to solve problems that weren't even yours. You became that go-to girl, the reliable one, the emotional anchor, but nobody ever asked you how you learned to anchor yourself. People just assume that the strong one is okay because you make okay look effortless. But the strong one is often the one crying in the shower. Welcome in, Blue. The strong one is the one that breaks down in her car before walking into the house. The one who bottles things up so deeply that she forgets where she's even hid the pieces. And what makes it worse? People don't even give the strong one permission to be anything else. Right? Because if you show emotion, they're like, what's wrong with you? If you set boundaries, they tell you acting funny. If you need a break, they're like, you don't never take a break. You don't never do this. You never rest. And this one right here, if you ask for help, they're like, you really? They only understand your strength, not your humanity. And so the strong one quickly becomes the misunderstood one, the overlooked one, the emotionally underfed one, the unprotected one. Because everybody sees your armor, but nobody notices the bruises underneath. And there are so many bruises underneath. And here's where the identity crisis forms. You actually start confusing your role with your worth. You start believing you're only valuable when you're useful. You start thinking that love is something that you have to earn through service. You start believing, vulnerability is a liability. You start presenting a version of yourself that hides the parts that need love the most. Thank you. But I want you to hear me. Being the strong one all the time is not strength, family. It is fear dressed up as self-sufficiency. It's the fear that if you stop being the dependable one, you'll become the disposable one, the replaced one, the burden, or even too much. So what do? Ladies, we just tuck our feelings behind our responsibilities, right? We hide our hurt behind our smile. Your silence, your needs, right? All that behind your to-do list. And we shrink our humanity to match the role that people expect us to play. But I'm going to tell you something that your spirit has been waiting to hear. And that is simply, strength is not who you are. It is what you've learned. Strength is not your personality. It is your protection. Strength is not your identity. It is your armor. And for years, you've worn it because you needed to. You wore it because life demanded it from you. You wore it because nobody else was strong for you. But you're not required to keep wearing what God is trying to heal you from. You don't have to be the strong friend to be loved. You don't have to be the fixer to be valued. You don't have to be the dependable one to deserve to live a soft life. You don't have to be the emotional first responder to earn care. Each and every one of you deserve a life where somebody asks you if you're okay. Where someone shows up for you without being asked. Where someone checks in on you just because. Not because they want something from you, but just because. You deserve a life where someone pours into you without conditions. You deserve softness without suspicion, rest without guilt, support without sacrifice, love without labor. And you deserve an identity that is rooted in peace, not pressure. So we are not just the strong ones, right? We are whole women with a whole heart who deserve to be loved wholly. Because even though that strength may have protected you, that strength may have gotten you to this point, softness is what's going to heal you. And each and every one of you deserve that. And you know, there's this fixer's curse, right? And when I talk about, you know, the curse that comes with being a fixer, on the surface, it looks noble, right? It looks loving. It looks responsible, like leadership, right? It starts off looking that way. But underneath, it is so rooted in pain. A pain that taught you that being needed is the closest thing to being valued. And you weren't born a fixer. You were trained to become one. You learned to jump in, to patch things up, to hold things down, not because you wanted to, but because the moment you slowed down, stuff fell apart. People, you know, depend on your strength long before they even had a chance to depend on anyone else's. But the truth of the matter is, you've been saving people while you're bleeding. You've been stitching up their wounds with hands that have yet to stop shaking. You're carrying their emotional weight on top of your own. Hey, Yoli. You're acting as if you're, you know, the crisis manager for the situations that you didn't even start. And you're pouring into people who don't even offer you a cup of water. And the worst part about it is, sometimes the people that you're fixing are the ones who created the damage in you in the first place. Because being the fixer often means that you're apologizing for things that you did not do, that you're repairing relationships that you did not break, you're carrying the guilt that never belonged to you, you're offering compassion to people who have never protected you, you're trying to heal adults who refuse to do their own work. But sis, that's not love. That is self-abandonment dressed up as loyalty. But you learned early that if you didn't fix it, nobody else would. So here you are, overcompensating, overinvesting, overgiving, overloving. And you're just saying, oh, that's how I am. It's just who I am, right? But no, that's not how you are. That is how you've survived. You became the healer because nobody else has healed you. You became the peacemaker because conflict terrified you. You became dependable because of the amount of instability that you've had to endure over the years that has traumatized you. You became the nurturer because you knew what it felt like to go without nurture. And life rewarded you for it. People praised you for it, loved you for it. They're calling you strong and loyal, the ride or die. She's so selfless. But fixing everybody else has become the excuse that you use to avoid fixing yourself. Because if you stay busy caring for their wounds, you never have to confront your own. If you just stay focused on their healing, you never have to sit with your hurt. If you stay rescuing them, you never have to admit that you're tired of saving yourself. Fixing other people hurts. And I mean, just think about it. How many times have we given CPR to relationships that God already declared dead? It's like you've poured oil on connections that should have dried up a long time ago. You've revived situations that were never meant to be revived. And I'm going to say this as gently and lovingly as possible. You don't have to bleed to prove that you're a blessing. You don't have to sacrifice yourself to show that you care. You don't have to fix people that God is trying to free you from. Some people don't need your healing. They need their own accountability. Some people don't need you to rescue them. They need that rock bottom. Some people don't need your help. They need your absence. Some people don't need another chance. They need closure. When you're the fixer, you become so used to carrying others that you forget that you deserve to be carried too. But today, I'm here to remind you that you deserve someone who checks in on you, who holds space for you, who pours into you, who listens to you, who chooses you, who supports you without needing a crisis. You deserve a life where you don't have to earn emotional safety by overgiving. You deserve relationships where reciprocity is the natural rhythm, not a negotiation. And so here's the shift, sis. You are not responsible for saving grown people from the consequences of their own choices. I'm going to say it again because I don't know if y'all heard me. You are not responsible for saving grown people from the consequences of their own choices. And I don't care who they are. I don't care how you're related. I don't care how long you've known each other. I don't care how far that you've gone back. This could have been your A1 from day one. You are not responsible for saving grown people from the consequences of their own choices. You are not responsible for healing wounds that didn't come from your hands. You are not obligated to be the fixer in every single room that you enter. You can lay that burden down. You can retire from that role. You can choose you without guilt. Because the version of you that is emerging, that is the healed you. And she understands something that the fixer in you never did. She understands that she's not supposed to be everybody's savior, because that's God's job. Your job, sis, is to heal. And you deserve that healing more than you know. And let's go ahead and talk about this mental marathon that we're, in this race that we're running that we've never signed up for. Right? Let's talk about overthinking. It's not a personality trait. It is a nervous system that never learned what safety feels like. It is a mind that never got the chance to sit still because chaos taught you it wasn't safe to relax. Overthinking is what happens when your life had too many moments that blindsided you. Moments that taught you to be ready, stay alert, don't get comfortable, don't let your guard down, or to prepare for the worst. That way it doesn't break you when it happens. But you're not dramatic. You're not doing too much. You're not always in your head. You're a woman who had to become her own security system. Right? Overthinking isn't random. It's rehearsed. It is practiced. It is patterned. It is the brain's way of trying to protect the heart that's been let down, broken, blindsided, abandoned. Your mind isn't loud because you're irrational. Your mind is loud because you never felt safe to be quiet. And so overthinking looks like replaying conversations, reanalyzing decisions, rereading text messages, preparing for outcomes that they, may never happen, trying to predict other people's reactions, planning for every single worst case scenario, or trying to stay one step ahead of disappointment. Overthinking is what happens when peace feels unfamiliar. It is the body saying, I've been through too much to just trust this moment. But here's what they don't understand. You're not overthinking because you want control. You're overthinking because you've lived in situations where you've had none. And I want to speak gently to that place in you today. I want you to know, and again, this is for all my overthinkers. I need you to know your mind is tired, not broken. You are overwhelmed, not weak. You are carrying memories, not madness. See, overthinking is what happens when you've had, when you've never had emotional consistency, right? You were raised in uncertainty. You learned, that love could change overnight. You expected responsibility too early. Or you got punished for not being perfect. You grew up scanning rooms for danger. You never knew where the next emotional hit was going to come from, but you knew it was waiting for you. And that kind of childhood doesn't just disappear. It grows up with you. And so now, as a grown woman, your mind is, runs like a trauma treadmill. Nonstop, high speed, never ending, even when the danger is gone. But I want you to know that you deserve a mind that trusts your present. You deserve peace that doesn't have to be earned. You deserve rest that doesn't require exhaustion first. So Let's break this down from the inside out. Overthinking is the brain trying to create safety that your environment never gave you. But your healing journey, this deep, transformative, woman of God healing that you're doing, is giving your nervous system a new assignment. Welcome in, Keith. You don't have to anticipate every possibility anymore. You don't have to calculate everyone's emotions anymore. You don't have to predict the future just to breathe in the present anymore. Because now you're learning that peace doesn't mean something bad is coming. Right? That rest doesn't mean that you're slipping. Silence doesn't mean that somebody's upset with you. And love doesn't mean loss is next. This is your season to learn emotional safety, real safety, not the survival mode safety, okay? So let me ask you, what would life feel like if you believe that you didn't have to be on high alert all the time? What could you hear from God if your thoughts finally quieted enough to let him speak to you? Who would you become if if rest wasn't something that you had to bargain for? I don't know who needs to hear this, but you're not crazy. You're not too much. You're not dramatic. You are a woman who deserves to put her mind down and exhale. You don't have to think your way through everything. Some seasons just require you trusting the process. Because even when your mind is busy, God is steady. Even when your thoughts are spinning, God is still. And even when you can't rest, God rests for you until you learn how. But you deserve a peace that doesn't ask you to over prepare. You deserve a quiet that doesn't feel like danger. And you deserve a mind that is fully and truly and deeply trusting that you are safe now. Welcome in, Ivy Mae. Hey, Tamika. Some things, some of the things that we once called strength were never really strength. It was simply survival. Some of the ways that you move through life wasn't confidence, right? Those were defense mechanisms. Some of the independence that you were praised for, or even praised yourself for, right? That wasn't really freedom. It was simply a shield that you built because you never felt protected. But hear this clearly. Chaos did not build you. Trauma did not shape your identity. Pain is not your personality. God is. You were created in intention, not in injury. You were formed in purpose, not in pressure. You were designed from love, not from loss. And so, chaos may have influenced your story, but it does not define your character. It did not write your destiny. It did not have the final say. Because even in the seasons where you were breaking in silence, God was building you in the background. He was strengthening what mattered, which was your faith, your discernment, your resilience, your calling. Not the pain, but the purpose. And maybe that's why some of the things you went through felt so consuming. Because they were never meant to be your foundation. Right? See, trauma teaches you to survive, but God teaches you to live. Trauma makes you hard, but God makes you whole. Trauma shuts down your heart, but God opens it back up. Trauma tries to convince you that you're all alone, but God whispers, I was there all the time. So I need for you to understand that you are not a product of the storms that you survived. You are a product of what God carried, right? Of who God carried you through them, through every single storm. And so every time you thought that you broke, he rebuilt you. Every time that you lost your way, he rerouted you. Every single time that you couldn't find the strength, he supplied you. Every time you said, I can't do this, he said, you don't have to, I got you. And so this is the moment that you realize that your identity is not rooted in what hurt you. It is rooted in the one that healed you, protected you, and is now calling you into a season where you don't have to perform strength anymore. So today I want you to say, I am not my trauma. I am God's masterpiece in recovery, right? I am not my trauma. I am God's masterpiece in recovery. Because that healed version of you, she is built on truth, not triggers. She is built on peace, not pressure. She's built on faith, not fear. And that woman, the one that God is forming in this season, she ain't built from chaos. She's built from a calling. And we know at this point that our body keeps score, right? We've talked numerous times about emotional burnout. So I want to talk about something that I believe that many of your spirits have been whispering, but your body has been shouting. You're tired. Not just physically, but emotionally and mentally and spiritually. You are tired. Drop a green heart in the chat if you can admit it. I'm tired. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It all hurts. I'm tired. Right? And so this thing about emotional burnout is that it doesn't all show up at once, right? It creeps in quietly. It lives in your sighs. It hides in your silence. It settles in your shoulders. It sits behind your eyes. It slips into your routines and disguises itself as I'm busy. Right, Center? But that ain't busy. That's burnout. The kind that a weekend nap can't fix. Your spirit may carry pain quietly, but your body keeps every single receipt. Your body is keeping score. Your body remembers the nights that you didn't sleep because your mind was up replaying old wounds. Your body remembers the arguments you swallowed so you wouldn't have to ruin the moment. Your body remembers the seasons where you push through instead of breaking down. Your body remembers the years you spent being everything for everybody else. And now your body is calling for you. Louder, clearer, more urgently. And so for those of you who don't know, emotional burnout looks like you're present but disconnected. You're functioning but numb. You're achieving but joyless. You're smiling but empty. You're helping but resentful. You're resting but not restored. You know that feeling where even simple tasks suddenly feel heavy? It's like Your patience is thin. Your fuse is short. And your energy is on E before the day even starts. That is your body's way of saying, I can't keep pretending with you. Your body is not just a vessel, it's a messenger. And when your soul is tired, your body becomes the microphone. The headaches, the tight chest, the fatigue, the irritability, the brain fog, the tension, the emotional numbness, those are not random. They are signals. They are alarms. They are red flags waving to get your attention. And you don't have to wait until you collapse to take care of yourself. Hey, Jenny. You don't have to wait until you collapse to take care of yourself. You don't have to earn rest through exhaustion. You don't have to justify peace with productivity. You don't have to be at rock bottom to deserve recovery. Your healing does not require a crisis. It requires you to make a decision. No fear, no doubt. Welcome in, bro. Right? It's waiting for you to make a choice to listen to your body instead of demanding more from it. A choice to honor your limits instead of proving your strength. A choice to treat yourself with the same compassion you've extended to everyone else. Because you deserve recovery, not resilience. Thank you. You deserve restoration, not the repetition of old patterns. You deserve ease, not just survival. So we have to normalize saying my body deserves peace too. That I can rest without guilt. I am not a machine. I am a masterpiece. Your body has carried you through every storm. Now it's asking you to just slow down so it can finally heal. And you deserve to give yourself that permission. And if you don't, no one else will. And let's be real for a moment. Some of us don't slow down until God slows us down. We keep pushing, we keep grinding, we keep performing strength on autopilot. And because we're so used to doing everything for ourselves, we start treating God like a silent partner instead of the source. But I'm about to whisper something to your spirit, and I hope you catch it. Sometimes God interrupts your busy season because he refuses to let you burn out. He refuses to let burnout be your destiny. He will interrupt your pace. He'll interrupt your patterns. He'll interrupt your plans, not to punish you, but to protect you. Because he sees what's wearing you down long before you admit it. He sees the weight that you've normalized. He sees the tears that you wipe too quickly. He sees the prayers you whisper on empty. He sees the strength that you perform when your soul is collapsing quietly. See, faith healing is not just about laying your burdens at his feet. It is about not picking them back up. Welcome in, BG. Thank you for the follow. It's understanding that the same God who carried you through the fire is the same God calling you into this season of rest, of ease, of emotional recalibration. God never asked you to be the warrior every single day. Some days he simply just wants his daughter back. You deserve to rest. The one who, when I say he wants his daughter back, and fellas, this is for you too. He wants his son back, right? When I say he wants his child back. He wants the one who trusts instead of worries, the one who leans instead of leads, right? The one who believes without trying to predict the future, the one that rests in his promise instead of surviving on their own willpower. This is the season where your faith becomes your softness, where surrender becomes your strength. Thank you. Where you allow God to take over the battles you were never meant to fight by yourself. Because peace doesn't arrive through productivity. It arrives when you have a partnership with him. And so I want you to know that you don't have to do life the hard way anymore. Let God carry what's been breaking you. Right? Retire from being the resilient one. You know, make that your declaration, right? This is your declaration. This is your shift. This is your release. Because for years, resilience was your identity. You've worn it like a badge of honor. It's been your survival strategy, your unspoken job description, and your emotional uniform that you have got up and ironed and put all the creases in that, right? That emotional uniform that you wear. But today you are retired from being the resilient one. Not because you're tired of life, but because you're finally tired of carrying it alone. You're stepping into a new season where softness is no longer unsafe, where boundaries are non-negotiable, where rest is a part of your rhythm. Saying no is self-respect. Being held is not a threat. Vulnerability is allowed here. And peace is a priority, not a prize. You're not retiring from strength. You're retiring from performing strength. You're no longer auditioning for love. You're no longer overworking for basic appreciation. You're no longer proving your worth through exhaustion. You're no longer shrinking your needs to make other people comfortable. You're no longer carrying people who dropped you the moment they felt heavy. You are now entering a season where your softness gets to exist without an apology. Where you're allowed to rest without guilt. Where you're allowed to break without being abandoned. You're allowed to ask for help without the fear of judgment. You are allowed to just be. And ladies, when I say just be, to just be a woman, not a warrior on duty 24/7. Because healing isn't about becoming stronger. It is about finally allowing yourself to just be human. So I hope you guys say it with me. We're retired from being the resilient one. I'm retired from being the resilient one. I choose peace over pressure, support over struggle, wholeness over heroics. Most importantly, I choose me. Say it with me, guys. I choose me. I choose me. Because that healed version of you, she's not fighting for her life. She's living it. Now, I want you guys to take a deep breath with me here. Not a shallow one, ladies. Do it right. A real breath, y'all. That's right, Twista. I choose me. Deep breath in. And exhale. Again, in through your nose and exhale. One more time, because the third time's the charm, y'all. Inhale and exhale. Hey, Coach Shishi, welcome in. So listen, family, we walked through a lot today. You opened up truth, right? The truth that you've been carrying quietly. You've given language to a version of yourself that's been surviving silently. You've allowed your heart to be seen, maybe for the first time in a long time, right? And so as we get ready to wrap up, I want you to hear me clearly. And I mean this. I am so proud of you. And this is for anyone who can hear my voice right now. I am proud of you. Not for being strong today, but for being honest. For being tender. For being human. For showing up for yourself. Remember that high functioning trauma had you performing strength that you were never meant to make your identity. It taught you how to be the one who holds, the one who fixes, the one who never falls apart. But this episode, this conversation that we've had, this moment, is your permission to step into something new. And when I say something new, it is time for us to write a new chapter. A new chapter where your peace is your priority, where your rest is holy, where your heart is deserving, where your boundaries protect you, where your body matters, your voice matters, your healing matters. You don't have to be everybody's anchor. You don't have to be the emotional glue that keeps everything together. You don't have to carry the weight of the world just to feel worthy of love. You get to be soft. You get to be supported. You get to be messy and still chosen. You get to be held without having to earn it. You get to grow without performing strength for applause. Chaos did not build you. God did. And He's doing something new in you. Something gentle and intentional, restorative. Something that doesn't require your exhaustion to validate your existence. So before we close, I want you to whisper this to yourself. Not as a line, but more like our lifestyle. I deserve ease. I deserve ease. I deserve safety. I deserve safety. Thank you. I deserve softness. I deserve softness. I deserve support. I deserve support. I deserve healing. I deserve healing. And this last one, I want you to put it in the chat. I deserve me. I deserve me. And remember, guys, if this episode touched you in any way, if it made you sigh, if it made you tear up, or if it made something, in you loosen, drop some green hearts in the chat. That is our way of saying that I'm healing, I'm growing, and I am choosing myself on purpose, right? I'm showing up for me today. Make sure you head over to YouTube once this live ends and go share this out with someone else who may need a little healing energy. Because ladies, we are not alone. We have a whole community of strong friends, and we need for them to understand that they can take the mask off. In this season, we get to just be. Right, Coach? Thank you. Now, before we part ways, let me leave you all with a little love and light. As always, I am here to encourage you to keep breathing through the highs, the lows, and every single moment in between. I am encouraging you to keep choosing peace even when it feels out of reach. And know that here at the Self-Care Club, you will always be seen, always valued, and always supported. So don't be afraid to take up space, speak your truth, and make a little room for you to breathe. I love each and every one of you to life, and I am praying that your day is not just amazing, but aligned, intentional, and yes, on purpose, filled with nothing but purpose. This has been another Room to Breathe podcast, and I cannot wait to connect with you all again soon. YouTube, if you guys want to join the after party, we invite you to come hang out with us on TikTok. You just search at Room to Breathe Project and you will find us. For everyone, we will be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. on TikTok for the pre-podcast party. Podcast starts at 9 and then the after party follows. So I love you guys. Have a great day.